This is section 1.5a, angle relationships. So first off, we have a little review of the last section. So construct an angle bisector of angle A. So if you don't remember how to construct an angle bisector, go ahead and look at the video for angle bisectors. But a little quick rundown, your picture should look something like mine. First you're going to do is you're going to make this arc on your angle. So make it from your vertex to your arc. Then from wherever your arc hits your first segment, you're going to do another arc. Okay? Then without changing your compass, you're going to go from this other spot and make an arc again here. Wherever they intersect, take that and make a segment that connects from that intersection point to your vertex. And that will get a angle bisector. So then your angle should be in two equal parts. Number 2, in the space below, copy angle A using only a straightedge and a compass. So first what you're going to do is you're going to take your protractor and just make a straight line. Okay, so you're going to make this bottom line segment, and then from there you're going to first get the arc from here to here, measure out that distance. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get that distance on there. Oh wait, no, I did that wrong. Sorry, you're going to do this arc first. So get this arc, do that arc first. Then you're going to go over here and you're going to measure how far apart these are. Then you're going to measure that same from here. And again, if you don't remember how to do this, how to copy an angle, look up that other YouTube video. Okay, on to our new stuff. So this is section 1.5. So our first definition is vertical angles. So vertical angles are two angles that are across from each other on intersecting lines. So here's our picture. So copy this down in your notes. So just have two lines that intersect. Okay. The angles that are across from each other or vertical from each other are always congruent. So in this case, angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent because angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent because angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that are next to each other and share a common side. So here's one example of adjacent angles. So here is that shared side of the angle. So they have to be touching. Okay? So angles 1 and angles 2 are adjacent. Okay, complementary angles. Complementary angles are any two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Sum means when you add the two angles together. So I have two different examples. So in this case, angle 1 and angles 2 are complementary angles because they add to 90 degrees, because this little box means a right angle and right angles equal 90 degrees. And then this picture here, angles A and angles B, if you take the measures of their two angles, that is 90 degrees. So angle 1 and angle 2, angles A and angles B are complementary angles. So complementary is a sum that's 90. Supplementary is a sum of two angles who is 180. So here's my example. Angles 1 and angles 2 equal 180 degrees because a straight angle, that's what this is called. So if you get this angle right here, that's just a straight line. I'll actually move this up here. So this is just a straight angle. When it's just a flat line, that is 180 degrees. So when you have two angles that make a straight line like this, that means they are supplementary. In addition, your angles don't have to be touching, they don't have to be adjacent. You could have two angles whose sum add up to 180, and that would mean they are supplementary. So angle A is 130, angle B is 50. Add them together, it is 180. Linear pair. So linear pair is when you have two angles that are adjacent and supplementary. So they form a straight line. So up here, my picture is supplementary. This same picture right here, this would be a linear pair because it's adjacent and supplementary. So linear pair is just takes these two definitions to be a linear pair. Okay, when you're done drawing all of these definitions in, flip the page. Okay, so identifying the types of angles. Check all angle relationships between angles 1 and angles 2. So in number 1, so we have angles that are across from each other on intersecting lines. These are vertical angles. So we know that these two angles would be congruent. They are not adjacent. We don't know anything about the measures, so we don't know if they are supplementary or complementary. And again, they have to be adjacent and supplementary to be a linear pair. Okay, number 2. So in number 2, we have this common side between the two angles. So we know they are adjacent, and because they are adjacent, we know they are not vertical. Complementary. Well, we have this little box right here. That means that these two angles, that means this side is 90 degrees. And because we have between angles 1, angles 2, and this right angle is 90 degrees, they form a straight angle. That means this side over here is also a right angle, 90 degrees. So angles 1 and 2 are complementary. And because they are complementary, they are not supplementary, and they are not a linear pair. Number 3, angles 1 and angles 2 have this common side, so they are adjacent. Because they are adjacent, they are not vertical. They do not add up to 90, so they're not complementary. But what they do add up to is 180, so they are supplementary. Because they are adjacent and supplementary, we do know that they form a linear pair, and you can see that here because these two angles make that line. Okay, number 4. So on number 4, we have that shared side. So we know they are adjacent. And because they are adjacent, they are not vertical. They do not tell us anything about the measures of angles 1 and angles 2, and there's no box here. So we know that they're not complementary. Oops, I meant to go like this. They do not form a straight line, so we know that they are not supplementary, and because they're not supplementary, that means they can't be a linear pair. Okay, number 5. So in this picture, in number 5, we know that angles 1 and angles 2 are not adjacent because they don't share a common side. But what we do see is that they are across from each other. So here is our two intersecting lines, and because they're across from each other on intersecting lines, they are vertical. Because they are vertical, we do know that they are congruent. So see how this one already has a line, a little arc with a line? That just is another symbol for marking congruent angles. So all three of these would have that arc. And because 1 and 2 are congruent, and we know we have this little box here, that means 90 degrees. And because that box is right there, we know that these two angles here is also 90 degrees. I don't really like how that looks. Let me draw this again. Put my box right there. So because we have those two 90 degrees, and because we have all of these congruency arcs, we know that angles 1 and if this is angle 3 are complementary, then angles 1 and angles 2 are also complementary. And because they're complementary, we know that they are not going to be supplementary, and they don't form lines, so they're not a linear pair. Okay, number 6. Okay, so with number 6, we know that they are not adjacent because they don't have a common side, but what they are is vertical because we have those two intersecting lines and these angles that are across from it. So we got vertical angles. We know that these are not complementary because if you look and see again, we have this box. That means 90 degrees. And because 90 degrees is on this side, we know that angles 1 and angles 2 are also right angles. All of these are right angles, actually. So angles 1 and angles 2 are supplementary because they are both 90 degrees. 90 plus 90 is 180. Angles 1 and angles 2 are not a linear pair because you have to be supplementary and adjacent. But because we don't have the adjacency, means we cannot have a linear pair. Okay, that is the end of section 1.5. Our homework is going to be this worksheet 1.5a, angle relationships.